Dakota, New York, is not a well-known town. Located on the outskirts of bustling New York City, it is a quiet retreat for those seeking solace from the chaos of the city. Though lesser known, Dakota has its own charm, with cobblestone streets lined with colonial-style homes, a small farmer's market. Yet Dakota is bustling on Saturdays and a tight-knit community that thrives on shared stories and whispered secrets. But amid its unassuming serenity, Dakota is home to a legend that has been passed down from one generation to the next. That is the story of the Weeping Lady. Her name is Eleanor Ellie Driscoll, and she has lived in Dakota for most of her life. Ellie is a strikingly beautiful woman, her auburn hair often gleaming like fire in the sunlight, and her emerald eyes hiding a world of sadness. She moved to Dakota as a young woman with her husband, Thomas, in the late 1950s. Together, they bought an old Victorian house on the outskirts of town, a house that seemed to evoke the stories of its past inhabitants. At first, Ellie's life in Dakota was idyllic. She spent her days tending to the house and garden, hosting tea with neighbors, and accompanying Thomas to local dances. But everything changed one summer night in 1961. Thomas, an avid fisherman, went for a late-night excursion to the nearby Hudson River. When Thomas did not return the next morning, Ellie became concerned. As the following night approached, townspeople scoured the riverbanks. Days turned into weeks, and finally, the search was called off. Thomas was never found. Ellie's grief consumed her. She withdrew from society, her once vibrant personality turning into a somber, withdrawn self. People often saw her sitting by the window, staring out at the horizon as if waiting for Thomas to return. Then, one night, something extraordinary happened. A neighbor, walking his dog past Ellie's house, heard crying. He looked up and saw Ellie standing on her porch, tears streaming down her face as she stared at the night sky. It wasn't just the sight that struck his neighbor, it was the sound of her voice. Ellie's cries were haunting, almost melodic, and seemed to carry the weight of an inexplicable sadness. Word spread quickly, and soon, Ellie's nighttime cries became a phenomenon. The townspeople began to gather near her house, drawn to the beauty of her mournful song. Some said her cries brought them to tears. Others said they felt a strange peace, as if Ellie's sadness were absorbing their own. Over time, Ellie's mourning became a ritual for the town. People would bring candles and flowers, standing in solemn silence as Ellie's cries filled the night air. But Ellie's story didn't end there. Over the years, strange occurrences began to be reported in the Dakotas. Farmers claimed their crops grew more abundantly after attending Ellie's memorial services. A child, lost in the woods for days, was found unharmed after hearing a woman's voice that led him back to town. Skeptics dismiss these stories as coincidence, but many believe Ellie's grief has imbued the town with a mysterious energy. As time went on, Ellie became reclusive. Her cries, once heard only at night, became less frequent. By the 1990s, her cries had stopped altogether. Ellie was rarely seen, and rumors swirled about her fate. Some said she died peacefully in her home. Others claimed she had moved away. Her house remained untouched, a silent monument to the woman who had captivated a town. Today, Dakota thrives as a small but vibrant community. Still, Ellie's legend lives on. Every year, on the anniversary of Thomas' disappearance, townspeople gather outside her old home. They light candles, share stories, and listen to the night, hoping to hear the faint echo of Ellie's haunting cries. And sometimes, on nights like these, the wind carries a voice that stops them in their tracks, a soft, mournful melody, as if the city's mourning guardians were still watching over them. The weeping woman of Dakota may be gone, but her spirit remains etched in the heart of the city. A poignant reminder that even the deepest sorrow can unite a community in unexpected ways.